we gotta turn this radio down a little bit. Let's see, maybe if I wonder if I played. No, I'll just wait. Anyway, what's up, y'all? It's Tuesday. We had a holiday yesterday, so I had a pretty busy weekend. I'll get into that in a few minutes when I get some viewers on. Wonder what my daughter is today. See if she's going to get on too and listen to me blabber on about nothing. Yay, blabbering. I love blabbering. Anyway, what's up, y'all? It's Tuesday, so we had a holiday this week. It's what we call Memorial Day. I think I discussed that a little bit on, what was it, Thursday or Friday, maybe, when I did my last video, my live video anyway. I did post a couple of videos on YouTube over the weekend. The short videos, of course. I think there was one long video that I posted. Well, there was one that had a copyright deal on it, so I had to contest that, but I went ahead and just took the video off because I hate it when I post a video and then they tell me that the copyright infringements or whatever. That fucking sucks. I don't know how, you know, like, I understand like music companies and stuff, but how an individual, you know, like me, can just claim a video or whatever, and you know, to claim rights to a video that I'm on or that I'm making. I don't understand how people can do that, but okay, whatever. So anyway, it was a pretty long weekend. There's some videos, there's a couple of videos from a football game that I went to with the national anthem and that kind of thing. So you guys feel free to check those out at any given point. So today was, anyway, today was the first day back at work after a 3-day holiday weekend. And it's always really hard, like on the 3-day holiday weekend, to get going again, you know, to get back in the swing of things. Freaking fire trucks. Yeah, what's happening, y'all? I got 2 viewers here. I'm gonna say top of the day to you. Yeah, must be something happening over here somewhere close. I've seen a fire truck, and it probably looks like a Chief and ambulance. Ambulance, whoa, Black Betty, ambulance, no. Anyway, so it's always hard to get back into the swing of things, you know, when you have a 3-day holiday at work. We're celebrating Memorial Day, which is, it's kind of like a Veterans Day, only it's for veterans who have lost their life in the line of duty to their country, or, you know, in war or in conflicts or anything like that. So we celebrate that once a year here in the United States. I don't know where everybody's watching from, but we have that here in the United States, and it's a time to reflect, you know, for all those who fight for our freedoms and our liberties, whether it be on our own soil or somebody else's, you know. But anyway, so today was the first day back at work anyway, so I had a real hard time getting motivated today. So I started off the weekend at a football game on Friday night. The St. Louis Battlehawks played. That's our football team here in town. It's spring league football, American football, you know, with the pads and the helmets and the leather pig skin and all that good stuff. And our team is doing really well this year. They're 7-2. and they whipped the socks off the team that they played Friday, 39-13. So that was exciting to see. And then, you know, of course, all the hype about the playoff games coming up. There's a conference championship game week after next, and then the big championship game, which they're holding in St. Louis again this year. So I'm going to that. That ought to be pretty exciting. I got in the end zone, the front row in the end zone, which means when they're facing, and I think NBC's carrying that game this year, but I can't remember. I'm sure I could check that and get back to you guys and let you know for positive sure. Anyway, so that's coming up. But I watched a couple of the other games this weekend. The team that we're playing for the conference championship played yesterday, and I'm sorry, Sunday they played, and they got the pants whooped off of them by a team that only won, I think, maybe 2 games or 3 games this season. Anyway, they weren't a 500 season team anyway, and they lost to them. So you know, they're going into the, well, depending on how they do next week. So we're playing them next week, believe it or not, and then we're playing them again in the conference championship. It's amazing how that schedule works out, but it does. So we play them at home next week. It's the Washington Defenders, and then the Defenders come here on the 8th of June for the conference championship, which I'm really hoping that they, you know, the Battlehawks win that one. But we shall see. So anyway, like I said, there's some videos on my channel, in the short videos, and there's one long video, I think, of the team coming in, and then they introduce the starting lineup. So that's you guys get a chance to check that out. Go check it out. Meanwhile, if you want to hit subscribe, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so if you are inclined. If not, that's okay too. And if you want to just hit the like button and like my video and my channel on this video, that'd be awesome. But I'm not going to beg for it, because I don't expect everybody to do it. I know that some people will and some people won't, and that's okay. It's a free world. You're allowed to do what you want, pretty much. Well, at least in my country anyway. So, but I will give shout outs. So if anybody wants a shout out, just put your name down at the bottom and a comment, you know, like, hey, Jim, give me a shout out, or can I get a shout out, or something like that. I don't require, like a lot of the other channels do, I don't require people to, you know, like or subscribe to get a shout out, but I will give you a great big shout out if you subscribe or if you like my video. All right, on to subject number 2. So Saturday morning, of course, I was up late Friday evening. I was still all hyped up about the football game, and I was on VR chat. I've got one of those, you know, virtual reality things. So I was on VR chat, and I was up pretty late. I guess I went to bed probably around 2 o'clock or something like that. Maybe even 3 o'clock. I don't remember what time it was, but it was really, really late. And I found some new places to go on there that are really interesting, really cool. And I made some more friends. I was talking to a guy from Finland about music. He apparently is a great big music fan, and he told me about some of the bands that he listens to. And we started off the conversation kind of arguing about what was metal and what was rock and roll and stuff like that. And I was like, well, you know, bands like Metallica, Megadeth, you know, the harder bands, I would call them heavy metal. And then like you have your hair bands, you know, like Winger and Bullet Boys and Autograph, and bands, you know, like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. Even though they're metal, they're hair metal, which was kind of like glam rock, I guess, at the time. But we kind of had a discussion about that for a little bit, and then we got into sharing music. So I turned him on to bands like, you know, Raven Black and Sunflower Dead, well, Mushroom Head. He had never heard of Mushroom Head. How can you not? I mean, how can you be from Finland and be a music lover and not know who Mushroom Head is? Anyway, and there were a couple of other bands, you know, Anti-Scene, Joe Buck Yourself, and some other bands like that that I like a whole lot. And he was telling me that when I turned him on to some Anti-Scene, he was like, "Oh, that's punk music," and I was like, "No, that's definitely not punk music. You know, punk is you know, kind of a raw, in your face. They don't really have like any kind of a real arrangement to the music, as far as I'm concerned. But Anti-Scene, you know, they get upset when you classify them as a punk band, because they're definitely not a punk band. They're a rock and roll, in your face, what I like to call destructo rock, or you know, that's what they call themselves, destructo rock. Really grindy, hardcore, you know, stuff like that. So we had a discussion about the difference between, you know, rock and roll and punk rock. Hey Ashley, how you doing today? So he turned me on to a couple new bands from over in Europe. I'm not really into the screamo type music, but I will listen to some of it, depending on, and really kind of depending on the music itself, not so much the vocals. If the music's really good, then the screamo really doesn't matter. Like, I listen to Raven Black and Static X and bands like that. There's a lot of that is kind of screamo, where they'll put screamo lines in, you know, Kill Switch Engage and bands like that. So anyway, so I'll listen to it. I don't like the deathcore music, you know, the growling. I'm not really much into that, but I do find it interesting. I found some videos on, I guess it was Instagram maybe, or Snapchat, one of the two. There was some kids doing grindcore or metalcore or whatever it's called. You know, the whole growling thing, like they growl the whole song. And it was pretty cool the way that they did it. And I just thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share. But anyway, so all right, let's roll around to Saturday morning. So I got up, I don't know, I woke up probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock or something like that Saturday morning. And I get a phone call from my stepmom. And she says, "Hey, Jimmy, you're going to come down and see your dad?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I had planned on coming down there today anyway. And, but I got to get dressed. I got to take a shower. I got to brush my teeth." And you could hear it in her voice that there was something wrong. So she says to me, she says, "Well, you know, Jimmy, I really don't think that Daddy's going to know whether you brushed your teeth or not." So at that point, I knew it was bad. And then she told me, of course, my dad had passed away Saturday morning, sometime between the hours like 2:30 and, I don't know, I guess 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And you know, it was something that we kind of all expected to happen. I mean, he was at home on hospice. He fell and broke his hip back in about late March, maybe the middle to late March. And you know, he just, I guess he was just tired and didn't want to try the therapy or anything. So he didn't, and he ended up, you know, in intensive care a couple times. And but he wanted to come home, you know, to at least familiar surroundings, so that he could, you know, pass away and on his terms, which, you know, that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, he went to visit some people that, you know, probably been waiting a long time to see him. And anyway, we got to go to a funeral next week. Everything's arranged for next week already, and he's going to be buried at a military cemetery here in town. And Patriot Guard, since he's a veteran, The Patriot Guard's going to ride. And, I never thought for one second that I would ever ride in a group of people. I'm part of the Patriot Guard, which are a bunch of people, motorcycle riders that get together and they ride, to take the veterans or heroes to their final resting place. So, and I've only ridden just a couple of times with them, but I never thought for one second that I would actually end up riding, for my dad's funeral procession, whatever they call it. So it's going to be quite an experience again, stuff like that. So anyway, so that was Saturday, and then we just kind of took it easy the rest of the day. And then of course I did some more VR stuff. Sunday was kind of a hard day for us. We went and finalized some of the arrangements for the funeral, and Mom and Dad had already gone there to this place, this funeral home, back in like February of 2019, and had opened up, like a preliminary thing. I'm going to put my other glasses on. I can't see my phone. Did like a preliminary thing, where they went ahead and purchased the coffin and that kind of stuff, like riders in honor of your grandpa. Yes. Patriot Guard, Ashley. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Was killed over in Afghanistan. He was one of the 13 that was ambushed in Afghanistan when we had that big withdrawal over there. President Biden fucked that up real good, but I'm not going to get into politics. But anyway, I rode with the Patriot Guard for that, and there was probably, I'd like to say there was probably 12 or 1,500 motorcycles, and a lot of them were like AMVETs, American veterans. There were some with foreign veterans affairs. There were regular everyday people, and then there was the Patriot Guard. So I rode with the Patriot Guard, stuff like that. So anyway, we'll be doing that. It's going to be Thursday morning early. We'll have to get ready to go and stuff like that. So the viewing is going to be at the funeral home. It's going to be Wednesday. So Wednesday and Thursday next week are going to be a couple of really hard days for me, I think. I don't think it's really actually hit me as to what's going on or what has happened yet. I'm sure it will eventually. My dad and I weren't really close because there was a lot of years that I didn't see him and he didn't see me, and that's kind of my mom's fault. But for at least the past 13 years or so, we've had a pretty decent relationship, and to lose him, losing any parents is, but both of mine are gone now. So I've got another dad. My situation's a little different than most. I have a biological father who wants nothing to do with me, just because I was supposed to be a family secret. This guy, and I've talked about the Hammonds before. I've got a video, as a matter of fact, I did talking about Arthur Hammond, my biological father, and the family, the Hammond family anyway. But I kind of washed my hands of those people. They just, even though I'm blood kin related, they just don't like outsiders. They especially don't like outsiders like me. Of course, I don't know why. I'm a nice enough guy, but some people don't see it that way. Yes, baby, he did. He went to a better place. That's right. No more pain, struggles. But anyway, so this is this guy my dad that passed away, he married my mom. They were like childhood friends, and he married my mom while she was pregnant with me, and he adopted me at that point. That's how I came up. That's how my last name came to be. So, yeah. Anyway, so I didn't see him for many years. And my mom kept me away from him and kept him away from me. I did visit him one time that I can remember in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, because he was in the Army at the time. And I stayed with him in Fort Bragg, North Carolina for a couple of weeks. And I remember him saying that, that if I ever wanted to come live with him, I could. But, when your mom is interfering in a relationship like that, or, a father-son type deal, I don't think she realized, the damage she was causing at that time. But later on in life, we talked about it. She understands, how I felt about it. I wanted a dad, and she tried to raise me as a single mother, which didn't work out too well. Even though she did the best she could, I did what normal teenagers do. I went out experimenting with, drinking a little bit, hanging out with people, and stuff like that. But I never got in any trouble. I never got picked up by the law for shoplifting or doing stupid shit that kids do today. I never did any of that kind of stuff. I was always pretty much a good kid. But I did run away from home one time, and I ended up in a place in Charlotte, North Carolina, called The Relatives. It was a teenage runaways place where runaways could go there, and counselors would get involved and help them get in contact with their family and stuff like that. Well, I was there. My mom had gone through my room at home and found a beer can and asked me, did I drink? And I was like, well, yeah, I drink every once in a while. It's not like I do. It's not a habit, And she decided, this was during the 80s, so she decided at that point that I was going to rehab. Okay, where to go, Mom? So anyway, I was put in rehab at 15 years old, and she shipped me off to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.